So, Jessica, a Zero Dark 30, it's about the biggest manhunt in history, and it's a testament to perhaps the unsung heroes, isn't it? People like your character, the intelligence services, and the work they did over 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, the film definitely shines a light on the people who can't get credit for what they've done. My character, Maya, she's working as an undercover agent, and she would have never have been able to step forward and say, this is what I did. For me, making this film is thanking her and acknowledging her for that.
When you first read the scripts, I mean, did you get an idea of the scale of the challenge? We all remember why it happened. We all remember the end of it now. But for perhaps many people over a period of 5-6 years, perhaps it went to the back of their minds. But for people like Maya, it was their life for 10 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, it takes a fanatical behavior to catch a fanatic. And so much of Maya is about that she just gave up everything. And that's the reason for the end of the film. There's a moment where she doesn't know who she is anymore. She's become like just, I want to say, an empty. She's just a nothing. And so we had to show that progression over the course of close to 10 years, about 7 years. And but you know, I think it's a remarkable thing that she did, and I feel so much better knowing that she's out there.
If you look at the film without ever seeing it, without knowing Kathryn's attached to it or yourself, America kills Bin Laden, but actually the tone of the film is apolitical, isn't it? There's no sort of whooping at the end. Was it important that that tone was struck in dealing with a subject like this? Oh, yeah.
The second, when I read the film, I thought, this is some fearless filmmaking right here. Because normally, in the United States, with a military movie, you can work in cooperation with the government. Like, you can have an interview and then do your own research on the side. But in order to get helicopters and planes, the government, the military, has to approve your script. And they can actually make changes to your script. And then they let you borrow things. But Kathryn and Mark decided they didn't want to go that route because they wanted to tell us an accurate story that perhaps might show some of the U.S. government in not the best light. And that was very exciting to me because then I felt like the government wasn't controlling the film.
I mean, obviously, the main talking point of the US government not in its best light is the torture scenes. Mm-hmm. Some critics have gone so far to say it condones torture. I mean, what would your reaction to that be?
I think it's absurd to think that. I think that's just another example of people reappropriating the film for their own advantage. Before the movie came out, they were saying it was a pro-Obama campaign commercial, and now saying it's pro-torture. I imagine it's probably easier to say that because none of the characters step forward and say, this is wrong. We're used to, in films, having an idea of this is right and this is wrong. It's a moral thing. But I find sometimes in European cinemas, the lead of your film, the hero of your film, does bad things. And in this film, Kathryn Bigelow said, well, here is our hero, and we're going to put her in really ugly situations, and we're going to have her do bad things, and it complicates you. And we're going to let the audience decide, if it was worth it. She doesn't end the film with hooping and hollering like, yes, we did it, congratulations. She ends it with devastation in the woman. And I find that, to me, it's pretty obvious where it slants, and it's more against torture. It's not a pro-torture film.
I mean, the fact that it's morally ambiguous in many respects, and the fact that some critics have seen it as being pro-torture and condoning it, is just the fact that we're talking about it. Is that perhaps its greatest achievement? Yeah, well, that's what, in my opinion, that's what art is supposed to do. Like, look at Picasso's Guernica. It's not just like shapes and lines. It's something's representation of something deeper and darker. It doesn't mean that he supports the horror of war, but he brings it to the forefront of your mind. And when a piece of art can do that, then I believe it's done its job. And one of the reasons it does that is because Kathryn is at the helm. Talk to me about working with her. Incredible.
Oh, Kathryn Bigelow is an incredible filmmaker, an incredible person. She says that filmmaking for her isn't about breaking gender roles, but she can't help but do it because of who she is. And, she's made a film where her lead female character is defined by her work and not her male counterpoint. That's huge, because I'm not used to seeing those images of women in movies. And I think it's a perfect representation of this generation of women, capable and strong and independent. And it's very exciting to be involved in a film like that.
And just